Sup everyone, I'm the Cartoon Physicist and this is the Naughty List, taking back the good, the bad and the forgotten of the new millennium. After such an aggravating mess that was Chicken Little and having to deal with annoying copyright stuff along with it, I think I should cheer myself up with something quirky and British. Though, considering British television, that's a bit of a redundant thing to say.
Where will we be in the year 2000 when there's no more hunger and there's no more war? We're standing on the threshold of the year 2000. The time has come, we've had enough, we won't take any more.
If the opening wasn't that obvious, I'm going to review The Stranger Heirs. And now I realize why they never actually say that on the show. It looks cool on paper, but it's really hard to pronounce. The Stranger Heirs, the Stranger. So what the hell is The Stranger Heirs? The Stranger Heirs is a sci-fi comedy that first aired on Sky One from February to April of the year 2000. Why such a short time? It only lasted 9 episodes, with the pilot being over 40 minutes long and the rest of the episodes being the average length of 20 minutes. That makes it the shortest show for me to review so far.
What?
And Dino Squad is still the longest show I've reviewed.
What?
Will you let that go already? Not until I review a good show that lasted longer than Dino shit. Anyway, I'm really surprised The Stranger Heirs ended so soon. Not just because of its quality, but because of who the creator/writer was. You would think the network would want to keep a show that was created by the co-creator of one of the highest rated British sitcoms ever. A sitcom that was on air for over a decade. Okay, if that wasn't a big enough hint of who the creator of The Stranger Heirs is, here's another. Yes, the creator and writer of The Stranger Heirs is Rob Grant, co-creator of Red Dwarf. Co-creator because he created alongside Doug Naylor, known together as Grant Naylor. But by the mid-90s, just when Red Dwarf was getting really successful, Grant left Naylor with the show's writing duties to pursue other projects, specifically because he didn't want to be just known for Red Dwarf. Afterwards, he wrote for a show created by someone else. It was called Dark Ages, which parodied people's ridiculous fears about the turn of the third millennium, only with people from the Middle Ages scared of the turn of the second millennium. It was only until the year 2000 that Rob Grant created and written a TV show on his own for the first time. This one, The Stranger Heirs. So, let's see how he did on his own. The show reveals the alien protagonist straight away. Cadet Niven, played by Jack Dockery, who I know as the Inquisitor on Red Dwarf and has worked alongside Grant and Naylor when they were writers on Spitting Image. By the way, you should watch that show, it's awesome. And Cadet Flynn, played by Mark Williams. He was also on Red Dwarf as Dave Lister's best friend Olaf before everyone on the ship died, played Rory Pond's father, Brian, on Doctor Who, and played a dad again on some obscure fantasy film series. We first see them arriving on Earth being led by another alien known as the Supervisor. The reason why they're dressed in snappy pinstripe suits and fedoras is because their alien species only knows about Earth culture from 1940s films, mainly film noir and gangster movies, making them look way too awesome for their own good.
Seriously, I want that fedora!
And the reason why they're moving like that is because their vegetable anatomy is not used to mimicking the human body. Yeah, you heard me. These are vegetable aliens. Though men in pinstripe suits are not what I first think of whenever vegetable aliens are brought up. This is what I first think of. After their supervisor dies from an attempt at hitchhiking, Flynn and Niven are stuck on Earth and they have no clue what their mission is due to being ranked much lower than the supervisor. Oh boy. Now, if the supervisor had read The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, none of this mess would be happening. Yep, these guys are doomed. It takes them more than a minute to realize the supervisor has been decapitated, and they never realize he's dead.
We must assume our destination lies yonderly.
Cadet Flynn, unfamiliar as I am with the specifics of the human anatomy, I cannot help but observe there is something less than correct with the supervisor's current appearance.
All right. There is something wrong.
He's shorter somehow.
Good grief. He's lost his hat.
For most of the pilot, the aliens attempt to put the supervisor back together since they think he's still alive. They don't notice the two problems with this. One, they're stuck on Earth, meaning in order to get the things they would need to fix him, they would have to interact with humans. And they're crap at Earth customs. Like, a lot of them. A lot. Too many to count. Two, they don't understand that decapitation is permanent. Eventually they get captured by two bickering government agents, Harry, played by Mark Heap from Space, and Rena, played by Sarah Alexander from Stardust. Don't worry, I'll get to that movie someday. Anyway, the aliens go along with them, thinking the agents are friendly. But Rena has enough of the aliens' cluelessness and interference and therefore threatens them. But the aliens show a bit of competence by sending the agents back in time, by a few hours, with their ray gun capable of multiple tasks, like time travel, reducing humans to puddles temporarily, and making a person glow green. With the agents out of the way temporarily, the aliens decide to stay on Earth and try to complete their mission that they don't know the details of.
That won't last a week.
And that's essentially the show. It's about a journey without a destination as we follow Flynn and Niven while they try to get used to Earth customs and human needs. You see, their human disguises can actually mimic the human body and experience our physiological needs, like the need to sleep and eat, which they try and fail. Although they do succeed if you give them time, and there's one Earth custom they always manage to pull off, though technically it was one they learnt from 1940s films. Tipping a hat to a lady.
Pardon me, are you a female person?
Am I what?
Are you of the female persuasion?
Last time I looked, I was.
Good, wrinkly female personage.
Despite how hard they try, they never fully blend in, mainly due to the fact that they keep dragging a corpse around. Well, first a corpse and then just a head. Yeah, they even lose the body. The government agents have it. Now, normally I'm not a fan of comedy originating from idiocy, but there's something endearing about bumbling characters speaking in such an eloquent manner, with British accents no less. I guess it's because it leads to such funny and clever lines despite stemming from stupidity, which is a common trait in Grant's writing.
Who's that? Whoever it is, get rid of them. We certainly don't want visitors while I'm exploding.
What's this? No! What is it? Please, come on, what is it?
It's a small off-duty Czechoslovakian traffic warden.
Though sometimes I cringe at their mistakes, thinking, oh, you're so gonna get beaten up. With all that said, Flynn and Niven are not completely identical, even though it may seem like they are at first. Niven is eager to show that he can pass himself off as a human. The problem is, he just can't. As it turns out, Niven is the most incompetent out of the pair because he failed his Earth culture tests and bribed another student to let him be on the mission instead, which leads to Flynn helping him out from time to time due to him acting more professional than Niven and actually having the skills required to be on the mission. Although Flynn may be more competent than Niven, he's still made to look like a bubbling idiot when it comes to Earth culture, and I don't think it's his fault. It's because their species doesn't know enough about Earth to properly blend in, even though they think they know enough and are arrogant about it. In fact, we see more of Lynn's incompetence while Niven was unconscious for a few episodes. However, the aliens' character development has made them more competent than they were before. After being chased down by government agents, being captured by a petty crook and a tailor/doctor, and finding themselves stuck running around with a steamboard and a broken chair attached to their backs, the aliens had enough of being polite pushovers. Near the end of the series, they finally decided to nut up and face their opponents head on.
I'm becoming increasingly displeasured with these constant imperatives and imprecations, and I am well aware of the appropriate Terran custom for demonstrating such displeasure. Shall I?
Do it.
Before I talk about the antagonists, I just have to say that Williams and Dockery not only did a fantastic job verbally, but also physically. Having to walk and move like this in every scene is just so damn impressive. It shows what dedicated actors they really are, especially in comedic roles. It's like they knew that if they don't move like this for even one scene, then the illusion of them being obvious aliens will be broken. Like I said earlier, the main antagonists are two government agents, Harry and Rena, because you can't have a show about aliens without government agents chasing after them. It's very interesting and rare to have one of the government agents be female. Most of the time it's two men in black, unless X-Files counts. But unfortunately, Harry is the obnoxious flirt and Rena is the no-nonsense one ready to punch his nose every time he speaks. It's been done to death. However, it's been done to death with protagonists, not antagonists. So there isn't a forced romantic relationship between the two. Harry's flirting habit dies down quite quickly, and we mainly get comedic moments out of them instead. They do become sympathetic antagonists once you find out that if they don't get the aliens, their agency will kill them. Although one character is a little more sympathetic than the other, Harry. He seems like someone you wanted to hate at first because of how many times he hits on Rena. until you see how much more sympathetic he is towards the aliens and Rena. He didn't want to hurt them like Rena or anyone else for that matter. He just wants the aliens to be studied, and therefore he becomes a sympathetic character. Oh, and he has this running gag where he thinks he's gotten a certain injury or disease, but it's really all in his head. Rena does feel sympathy towards the aliens, but only later on. There isn't really much to her character other than being a serious and aggressive, no-nonsense fighter. One who is apparently a straw feminist. You know, women who think they're feminists just by saying, ugh, men, since they never realize the goal of feminism is to have equality of the sexes.
Why do they make me work with men?
Despite Rena being a straw feminist, she fulfills the 1950s sci-fi trope of wearing something shiny and revealing that people think only women could wear. Specifically, this shiny blue jumpsuit. Either this was her own choice, or it's some sort of uniform provided by the government agency she works for. Nevertheless, it fulfills the trope and makes the show resemble more and more like a classic 1950s alien invasion movie. Which is what I'm sure they're trying to do. Let's face it, they wouldn't make the ray gun look like this unless they're going for a cheesy 50s sci-fi B-movie feel. There are a few other antagonists, but they're more like minor characters than actual obstacles. CD, the sleazy hotel owner, played by Paul Darrow, mainly known for playing Kurt Avon on Blake 7, and Rats, his nervous assistant, played by David Walliams from Little Britain. We first see them trying to kill the aliens for their money, and failing because they were actually trying to kill a hologram. Then they try to kill the aliens again, as revenge for messing up their own faces. They fail again due to the agents in the way. They do try again, but the show ended before they could do anything. You see what I mean when I call them minor characters? They're just a couple of stereotypes with no real impact on the story. There is an antagonist who does have a bigger impact on the show, but he's pretty one-dimensional. The head of the government agency, who I honestly don't know who plays him. The research is a little iffy. It's either John Veron or Mike Haley. He doesn't really have a name in the series, so I'm just gonna call him Blofeld. Because that's all he really is, a Bond villain. He's cold and sadistic enough to torture people for fun. He has apparently nuked places more than once, and is a sign that the government in this show is very sinister. In fact, Blofeld's plan is to commit genocide on the aliens' planet with a G-bomb just because. No, not an A-bomb, a G-bomb. Which is
It's the next step up from a total annihilation device. Single warhead containing spore genetic materials. When they're released into the atmosphere, they start recoding every double helix they touch. Everything, and I do mean everything, is instantly genetically modified. Within minutes, every material object, living or dead, mutates into dust.
Yeah, that. Just be glad they haven't decided to use the F-bomb. I'm sorry. The show hasn't really given me much junk material. I'm desperate.
Though Blofeld does serve one purpose extraordinarily well, making the audience sympathize with the agents even more now that they are in the same situation as the aliens were before the supervisor was decapitated. having a boss watch your every move. It made me discover one of the show's themes. Yeah, a show with a gondola gang parodying the gang in Clockwork Orange actually does have more than one theme. What's the theme then? Trying to do a job on your own for the first time and proving your worth. Continue with it no matter how many times you fail. A lot of people can relate to that, especially young adults who left their parents' place to live on their own. Hell, maybe this is what Grant was feeling at the time, now on his own without his old writing partner, without being Grant Naylor together. Maybe Grant was living through Flynn and Niven, writing and seeing them as himself and Naylor. Maybe he missed them. Or maybe I'm just overanalyzing again. I really shouldn't be with a show that has a morning erection joke.
Is it all right to suddenly have acquired a pole-like appendage at the base of the torso?
You've acquired an additional appendage?
Ugly-looking brute it is, too.
That certainly does not look normal, Cadet.
Perhaps I should consider pruning it.
I think that is for the best, yes. I believe there are a pair of secateurs in a briefcase.
Secateurs? I think you're going to need gelignite. Do hurry, Cadet, please. I can't stand to have this throbbing monstrosity anywhere near me. Would you believe it? The darn thing's gone.
Gone?
Well, not gone exactly, but it has... Look, it has shriveled considerably. Look at it, it's gone back to its former, less offensive, floppy consistency.
So I get rid of it anyway?
Oh, what the hey? Let's leave it just now, eh? If it happens again, I'll personally remove it with a fire axe.
I guess the prim and proper supervisor counts as a minor character, but he's more like a subplot. Yeah, he's not dead for long, actually. Due to his vegetable anatomy, his head was able to revive in a pan of water reanimator style. He eventually grows a pair of baby legs and runs to a spaceship to summon the supervisor. So he's pretty much the only reason the alien cadets were rescued near the end. Though just when he gets his body back while traveling with the supervisor, he gets decapitated by a cowboy Norman Bates.
You heard me. He loses his head again because of a cowboy axe murderer.
But you're probably going to put in the comments, Norman Bates wasn't an axe murderer, he used a knife. Yes, he does, but everything else the cowboy does reminds me of Norman Bates.
So, is this the correct overturial procedure to the remedialization of erotic arousal?
It's dirty.
Dirty?
Dirty, dirty, dirty.
Stop it. Is this better?
No! Stop touching her beep-beeps. I'm hearing the shouting again.
Here you go, Daddy. 12 good men and true. Now we got you a real jury. And they won't get their heads turned by no snake-tongued prosecutor. What's that? Oh, I think you're right, Daddy. Yeah, we do need us a judge. I'll fix us up with one. A nice lady judge. I think I seen just the one.
I think he was supposed to be the aliens' latest antagonist, but the show ended before the aliens could officially meet him.
I mean, they did crash a car into him, but it's not the same as meeting him face to face. So regardless of the show being so short, does it still tell a coherent story? Actually, yes. Because The Stranger Is has no filler standalone episodes. Now, ever since the pilot, I thought this was going to be more of a fish out of water sitcom like I Dream of Jeannie or My Favorite Martian, with each episode being about the aliens trying to understand Earth customs, along with elements of Rocky and Bullwinkle as the aliens escape or defeat the agents without even knowing the agents were involved at all. But then I watched the rest. It doesn't really have a story arc per se, or at least there isn't any foreshadowing in the background leading to something massive. What you see is what you get. Each episode would simply continue on from where the previous episode has left off, rather than skip days or weeks like in sitcoms. It's another common trait of Grant's writing, most notably in the later seasons of Red Dwarf. Before he left, of course. It actually reminds me of the format of old serial films like Flash Gordon or Superman, which I think was the general idea. It's better to follow those examples than the typical hidden aliens on Earth show. You see, what I like about this series is that the aliens don't suddenly make friends with a bland human that will help hide them, an idea that has been overused. For some reason, it's rare to just let the aliens run loose like they do here, leading to plenty of comedic opportunities being fulfilled. Anyway, because The Stranger is fully packed, it would have made a good self-contained miniseries. If they hadn't finished the series with the...
Right. The ending. If you thought Special Unit 2's unresolved story arc and premature cancellation was bad, then you clearly haven't seen The Stranger Is at all. So, yeah, spoilers.
In the last episode, the supervisor finally finds the aliens. During the majority of the episode, the aliens show that they have a better understanding of Earth customs than her, which she eventually accepts despite her stubbornness and arrogance at first. Okay, now this actually shows the show's other theme, that bosses should listen to their employees. After all, you hire them for a reason. Blofeld never listens to his agents and never admits that they were right, considering himself to be completely superior. The supervisor is exactly like that at first, until she sees for herself that Flynn and Niven have learned a lot from their long stay on Earth, while she makes the same mistakes they have earlier. She soon listens to the cadets and promotes them. The episode and the show altogether ends with the aliens almost meeting their rendezvous point, until a whole lot of shit goes down.
Mutations without even the merest hint of being detectionized.
May I suggest gentle application of brake pedal device?
Do you suppose it might be possible, acting Supervisor Flynn, to one day stop the vehicular transporter without striking a living object?
Take this back home from me, gentlemen. And dust shall ye be. On my signal, Rena. Let's make this a double whammy.
The show ends with an unresolved cliffhanger.
What the hell? case with Special Unit 2, the show ended with a standalone episode rather than straight after the antagonist's escape. But The Stranger Earth ended with a frickin' missile aimed at the aliens' heads. Like I said, if I had just... If they would have just resolved the cliffhanger, I wouldn't have minded the show's length and just called it a good miniseries. But nope! The audience is just left wondering how the hell are the aliens going to escape that? Why did they cancel the series there? No clue! Well, there is a theory that was cancelled because of low ratings, but that's just a theory. They didn't even air reruns of it or release the show on DVD. Why is Sky One so embarrassed of it? There's nothing really wrong with it. I would even rate it a C+.
It's cheesy, it's bizarre, it's charming, and Rob Grant knows this. He uses all of his strengths and the show's strengths to full effect. It's basically Red Dwarf in reverse. Living beings or man-made things in space trying to get to Earth. Aliens on Earth trying to get off of it. And it's done well. Despite the minor characters being one-dimensional, the main characters hold the show together with their outlandish personalities. Rob Grant tells the whole story, well, most of it, without skipping anything important. You would think following two bumbling buffoons would be tiresome, but no, they're so polite and innocent that you just want to hide them away from all the bad things in the world. These aliens deserve a happy ending for at least trying to do what they thought was right. If you were to put all of the episodes together, you would get a great Douglas Adams novel. And it would probably be his most down-to-earth one as soon as you compare it to all of his other written works. But still.
And there you go. With the review complete, it's time to move on to the next show. I hope I get something just as bizarre. Well, superheroes do get a lot of bizarre stuff happen to them all the time.